Yeah, missing out on that initial licence in 2018 certainly hurt, but 5 years on, here they are and expected to make a big impact in their inaugural season with Dally M medalist in the halves with a smile on her face there, Emma Tonegado. How will she fare with the 6 on her back after all those video sessions with Nico Hines?
All right, stay on side.
So the kick-off in a new era in the NRLW, and the sun an issue here. Canberra will get it back from the kick-off. Not intended to be a short kick-off, but Cronulla let it bounce and paid the price. And the Raiders do with this opportunity. Shante Temera, the number 9, playing alongside big sister Zahara, who gets it here. And a little bobble in contact from Holly May Dodd, the star signing out of England, and that's a knock-on.
Creating pressure through their defence, the Cronulla Sharks.
On the 20?
When that ball bounced, I knew they were in a little bit of strife, but they defended that area really well. And they now get the opportunity to work their way out of their own half. Great contact. A lot of conversation has been around Emma Tonegado moving from fullback into the front line. I've spoken to her a fair bit ahead of this game, Speedy, and she's pretty excited to be there. And we got to, she actually loves defending, so she's almost equally excited for defence, and we've seen it straight away, the impact she's had.
And on the short side for Takai Rangi, who won the comp with Newcastle last year. The only multiple try scorer in the grand final, in fact. But she is a Cronulla Caringbah junior and keen to play for this club. Quincy Dodd is the number 9. They go left-hand side now for Tale Holmes. Ball came loose according to Canberra, but no joy on that front. They go back in the middle, and the go forward provided by Ellie Johnston, former Dragon, former Eel, dubbed the blonde thunderbolt from Warhope. And they get plenty in the kicking game, don't they, out of Taylor Preston, who led the comp last year in kick metres and just knocked it back there. RB Nichols, the fullback.
Yeah, great way to end their set. Taylor Preston on the boot, as you mentioned, Speedy. She's impressive, and she's going to be crucial to the way she manages the game for the Cronulla Sharks. But that first set ended exactly where they'd like to do it.
The Sharks able to settle after not gathering the kick-off initially. In the middle go the Raiders, Sophie Hollyman, former Bronco. Made her origin debut for Queensland in game 1. And the right-hand side this time. Holly May Dodd able to hold on. Debuted for Castleford in a Challenge Cup final a day after her 16th birthday. Coolly done by Andy Robinson on the wing. Didn't rush it. Awkward bouncing ball from the Temera kick. We've got youth at the back, the Sharks. Robinson, the 21-year-old on one wing, a debutant on the other here, Biddle, who really impressed her coach with her performance in the trial, and then the 19-year-old Jada Taylor in the fullback role. And you've got the superstar here at left centre, Tiana Penitani. Managed to get out of that marquee deal with the Eels to join the club that she loves.
Slow the ruck down. Fine, good again.
Moved on to Preston. Oh, coming back on the angle, holding her hand up after making the error was Vanessa Foliaki, the veteran.
Oh, that one in particular, a shift out to the right. I would have liked to have seen her just pretend, do the dummy drop under, and they had numbers out on that edge there. So use that speed that they've got a little bit wider. And Ness, who is a very senior player, she'll be working extra hard in this defensive set to make up for it.
You've got 10 seconds, head in. All right, clock off feet.
What a shot that is for our doubleheader at this venue today. Men's game coming up later in the 4 o'clock slot. Second game of NRLW today. We're at Combank Stadium earlier for that massive turnaround by the Tigers against the Eels. Hollyman again, just changing direction. Asking the question of Johnston, who had the answers. Taufa moving it on for Quinlan. Harvey Nichols for the cutout ball. As they get expansive here, the Raiders.
Andy Robinson has come reeling out of that tackle, holding the left elbow. The Sharks did cover it well, but we'll keep an eye on that one. Maybe Marley will get some info for us as the game goes.
There's Tamaya Kelly Signs, another former Eel playing for a new club in 2023.
Take the marker out, don't go forward.
No nonsense from our referee, Casey Badger. Short side for Quinlan. It'll kick in behind. Taylor can let that one roll.
It sounded heavy coming off the boot, that one. Tricky though, they lost a little momentum. They got caught up at the play the ball, but she had enough time to be able to execute that little grab up. She'd like that one back.
Oh!
Whoa, yes!
Quinlan down low in company with Kelly Signs.
She's a strong defender. Ex-teammates as well there, former Eels together. That was a great shot.
And the number 13 jumper, it's Brooke Anderson.
Oh, look at this. Front on. Harada Butler.
Move by Butler, putting the footwork on into the starting lineup because Tegan Dimmick was ruled out during the week and making her presence felt. Tonegado, lovely ball out in front of Penitani. That was knocked down by the Raiders. Should restart the tackle count, and it does.
Lovely pass from Emma Tonegado. That's the first ball playing we've really seen from her in that number 6 jersey. Gave it nice and early. And a lovely little bullet.
Chance to go side to side here because they're defending with 12.
I thought I saw Soliola down with the trainer. She is in back play, so they're one short the defensive line here, the Raiders. Can the Sharks identify this?
They've got numbers right if they go that way. They've got Canberra shot. If they can go through the hands, they're screaming for it on the right. That's probably a good penalty to give away if you don't go to the bin for Canberra because they're ready to get their 13th player back into the line.
It was a very smart penalty to give away. Soliola is still making her way back on, and this we're just seeing the replay of what happened. It looks like she just got sat in the chair there with the run by Foliaki.
HIA.
Yeah, she's definitely doesn't look with it, so
We'll just wait for them
Marley
to
will
get
keep us
her
updated.
Soliola in Canberra colours. We're used to that, aren't they? Her cousin, Sia, played a lot of games for the Raiders.
She's a good young player
Come
too.
Created history at the new Allianz Stadium, didn't
Yeah, so looking forward to hopefully she can clear this with, at worst, a cap 2. See her back in 15 minutes.
So Matua able to come on as the replacement. Former Marley All-Star. And they're reorganising things on their left edge defensively. Cronulla go up the middle through Johnston. 16th game for her. In the middle in the NRLW. Oh, space up the middle. Trying to spin their way over. Casey Badger says held up.
Brooke to play the ball. On the 10-metre line, Brooke.
Really good shape there in the middle, front foot, getting nice and flat, giving Quincy Dodd plenty of options. But the Raiders were up to it.
Numbers right-hand side, pass behind Preston. Keeps it moving though for Taylor. Another Raiders hand on that one. And the knock-on has been spotted from Maddie Bartlett.
Where do you want your scrum? In the middle, clock's on.
They're finding some space out there, Fergo. And it's just the Raiders' last-ditch effort, so just getting in the way.
Yeah, it was a good scramble from the Raiders. I think maybe that one could have just been held. She could have gone into contact because there was opportunity beforehand. We mentioned it. They were a player down. So I think they maybe just tried to push that one, but got lucky with the 6 again. They get another crack now.
And they go to Tonegado immediately from the centre field. Scrum, she's done this before, and she does it on her Sharks debut. Emma Tonegado in the 6. Looks pretty good.
Doesn't she ever? That was brilliant from Emma Tonegado, but also her centre and her wing are holding strong, being genuine options on the outside of her. I think this was the key to Emma Tonegado going over here. You can see here on the Harvey Norman replay, that last change of direction, she beat Temera for pace, but having the footy in 2 hands here meant that she could have thrown that pass last minute if she had to. She identified the mismatch in pace, and have a look at this. That's her game to a T. Having the options, we saw her throw a lovely pass, but the strength, the power in her game, and a nice little palm there, Roo, too. She's done it perfectly.
She certainly has, and this is what she's best at, her running game, the way she can take on the line, her speed to be able to take advantage of the slightest gap in the defensive line. But we saw her do this for the Dragons in the first grand final of 2022. And this is exactly what she did, and they scored off it in the same position on the field. She's very, very dangerous from that midfield scrum with a bit of space around her.
She is. She loves that overs line as well. I'm just glad we've seen this so early on in the game from Emma Tonegata. It means she's confident. I think she'll have an absolute blinder for the Sharkies today.
And Preston, look at that strike. It's 6-0 to the Sharks.
One conversion by the number 7, Taylor Preston. Power sponsored by Aramex. Now to conversion round by the Wayne Extras. 10 into the match. It is the Cronulla Sharks with the Canberra Raiders. 6 points to them.
So a former Dally M medalist as a fullback, now playing as a 5'8", and starting like that in the opening 10 minutes with the 6 on her back, Emma Tonegata. All confusion from the kickoff. Dodd took it into her own hands as we go sideline with Marley Silva.
Well, the weather has certainly turned it on for this historic day here at PointsBet Stadium. The sun is shining, the skies are blue, but it's only 15 degrees, so it is pretty cool, and there's a slight wind blowing from behind the Sharks that'll help their kicking game. I did also get an update for Mona Lisa Soliola. She's come from a Category 2 HIA, so if she passes within the 15-minute period, she'll be able to rejoin this match.
That's good news for the Raiders. Playing catch-up now as Dodd goes centre field for Anderson, whose work rate has been through the roof in the opening 10 minutes. That'll be Holly Wheeler's number when she's fit and ready to go, the 13. But Anderson is more than adequate in that position as Nichols takes the kick and looks to get to the outside, running behind a teammate. So goes to Bartlett instead, who's got that left leg heavily strapped, and was easy pickings for Anderson.
Well, you spoke about Anderson's work rate in attack, but defensively is where I think she has the most to offer. But this discipline here, this isn't good enough for the Sharks. They need to be cleaner there, especially when you've just dominated that contact. I know you're excited, but you just need to be a lot more disciplined. Can't give away easy penalties. Look at that.
Brooke Anderson, she's a wonderful player. Been watching her play different codes of footy for a really long time now. Big fan.
Was in the grand final last season as an Eel. Temera out of dummy half. Nice change of direction from Holyman. Cronulla ready and waiting for her too. Another with a background in rugby union. Tamaya Kelly Signs, Indigenous All-Star. Short side on here for the Raiders. Quinlan changing the angle for Matua, playing that Soliola role. Now Kelly Signs with room to wind up this time. So a safe set from Canberra. What can they do with the kick at the end of it all? Z, as they call it. You can see the breeze, a factor there as it goes backwards nearly into the arms of Canberra. There's space here. Oh, didn't throw the pass, and the winger crunching in. That will please the coach even more. Anessa Biddle, effectively a try saver.
Well, considering how much pressure the Raiders were on down their own defensive line, to come up with a finish 15 metres out from their own goal line, potentially it was a 4-pointer on offer there, definitely. I think that was a really good rolling set, and you can see how much havoc the breeze is going to play on those high balls today.
Oh, rocking tackle. Matua and Kelly Signs on the diminutive Jada Taylor. That's not a fair fight.
Oh, look at this early kick here from the Sharks using the breeze. Great kick. Does it have the angle?
It bounces for Canberra.
But Matua, she was strong for Mounties this year, and you can just see immediately the impact that she's had since she's come on for the Raiders.
Jada Taylor still getting the wind back into her sails. About 50 metres from where the ball is right now.
Welcome to NRLW, Jada Taylor. How good.
Over halfway. Strong run this. from Bartlett in off that wing. Now Taufa on the back of it, used as a decoy by Shante Temera, who played in a grand final against Big Sister as a Bronco and won it against the Roosters a few years back. Here's Temera going for Arpy Nichols, the New Zealand international, with that one on her back. On the last, Temera has a feel for the win now, so drives it low, tries to get it into the in goal, did so on that front. The chase a little late getting there.
Much better set from the Raiders. And the Sharks, they kicked it on too. They tried to turn them around early and pin them down there, but they weren't able to do it. So I thought it was a really good set for Territory, and that fifth tackle option from Temera, that was the best yet.
Yeah, and look at this defensive effort from the Raiders as well. They're just hemming the Sharks in their own 20. There's some fatigue starting to filter through the middles for the Sharks, and a little bit of walking.
Up to the back five to get involved, and Biddle plays her role. Decent run that to try and set up for a run off the back of it. Look at that contact.
There's Rhiannon Byers straight into the action with a good run.
And the kick looks pretty good off the boot, but again didn't have the angle from Preston, and Arpy Nichols getting all the bounces she wants right now.
She's a wonderful player, isn't she, Arpy Nichols?
Oh, I love Arpy. I think she is so talented. She's strong. She's got great leadership. Her defensive structures out the back too, in particular. I think that'll really help the Raiders.
Being a new club in this competition, I think the Raiders' recruitment, they've done very, very well. And it all started with that woman there, Samaima Taufa. She was their big draw card. We've both played alongside her. Has been one of the best in the game.
Yeah, the spine is terrific for a start-up club. Talked about Nichols, and Temera and Quinlan. Quinlan was a difference maker for the Eels when she went into the halves last year. Temera now, expansive pass, quick hands, Quinlan. There's a chance for Bartlett, who's no stranger to scoring tries in the NRLW, but Foliaki denies her here after good work from Robinson initially to slow things down.
Well, I just mentioned Samaima Taufa before that last shift, and she was key in getting to that edge at the right time. She's playing lock. She took a really hard-hitting run through the middle, but then she lines back up straight away and jumps into that first receiver role. It just makes, it contributes to the spine, but it just makes it a seamless process to play a little bit of footy out wider.
Again, the Sharks with the breeze at their backs, making heavy weather of getting out of their own end at the moment. And solid defence again from the Raiders.
Well, that speaks volumes. I think the Raiders off some great attacking sets. It's their defence that has been really setting themselves up. This good run by Ellie Johnston, but the Sharks haven't been able to get out of their own half with ball in hand for a while now.
Preston again looking to kick on play 5. 40-30, remember, in NRLW, but finds touch just inside the 40.
Where do you want to play the ball?
There's been a lot of ball in play at the moment, so there's definitely some fatigue creeping in. I think what's really stood out to me has been the physicality and the discipline of the Raiders' defence. And off the back of that, obviously, it's giving Tamara a lot more opportunity as that half to finish off their sets really cleanly.
And the other kicking option in NRLW is a 20-50. And the way things are going for Cronulla right now, they might ponder that. Looking for runners and found one in the form of Tara Reinke, who's got a powerlifting background. NRLW debut today. Turned 23 on Tuesday. A birthday week to remember. Tour moving it on. Robbins ready out there at left centre. Quinlan, Taufa. Temera changing the angle, getting rid of would-be tacklers, and that's an important legs tackle made by Foliaki. And now on the last, Shante Temera takes over the playmaking responsibilities and knocked on by Dodd, who's had her issues ball handling-wise so far.
You'll just be there.
Yeah, it's a bit of a change over there. I liked what Zahara Temera did and went back on that short side. She saw the opportunity and it was there. She did very well, but what it meant finishing off that set is a little bit more pressure. They didn't have their half there who controls the back end of that. So they're under a little bit of pressure, got the pass a little bit wrong. And Holly Mae Dodd let that one slip.
Leading the metres gained, the Sharks. They did most of that damage early, but they got some decent field position this time. Tiana Penitani, key recruit, get her signature across the line. Preston, Foliaki, and they go into Canberra territory this time. And 2 more plays to go in this set. Anderson with the show and go. Tonegata, first kick from her today. And Arpy Nichols able to drop it out the back. The chase is good.
Pretty good placement for the kick there by Tonegata. Slipped it in between the fullback and the winger, but right now I can see the gas is running a little bit low for the Sharks defensively. They just need to rip back, compress, get some good line speed, but stay disciplined, and try and force the Raiders to make their way out of their own half.
Good morning.
Once more. Trailing 6-0 Canberra Raiders, but signs are good so far. Now pushing into a strong breeze, but a mistake right on cue allows Cronulla to capitalise potentially through Robinson, the speedster. Dragged back by Matua, might have grabbed the hair in the process there. And the officials let it roll.
Well, I think it was accidental, I think.
I think it's still
Never a good look though, is it?
there's some worries here because another Raiders player is down in back play.
Getting back to her feet now.
And there's a lost ball in the tackle there.
In Canberra, that's handy for them. Costly for Cronulla, who had 13 on 12. Here's a look at that break.
Oh, actually, I don't know about
That's
that.
a penalty.
Yeah, that's not
a penalty
good.
for me.
Yeah, the head snapped back on Robinson.
Well, the touchy was right there and they missed it, so play on.
And a penalty is sufficient.
Yeah. She's also got her hair in a ponytail. Put it in a bun. What do you reckon,
Ryan
Ru?
Ferguson on the run.
Put it in a bun?
I don't care what they do with their hair, really. If they get it off their face.
Temero changes the point of attack.
Straight up.
Oh, lovely move. Robbins ready with the lateral movement. Now puts the step on the fullback. What a mover she is.
Well, she was the one that was just down with the trainer a few minutes ago, Robbins Retti.
No, couple of steps right on the line.
That catch and slip under pressure, that was fantastic.
Silky, wasn't it? She's got a really powerful running game.
Played sevens rugby, played 15-a-side rugby as well, but missed selection for the Rugby Union World Cup, so turned her focus to rugby league, and she's one to watch with moves like that as Cronulla get a handy penalty at this stage of the game to give them some momentum. Let's get down to Marley for some breaking news.
Yeah, good news for the Canberra Raiders. Mona Lisa Soliola has passed her HIA, and I'm watching her run up and down on the sideline, looking ready to get back in this game.
Out there on the left edge before you know it. The teenager. Oh, hospital pass as Quinlan up in the face of Anderson. Dodd out of dummy half. Such a rock-solid dummy half. Quincy Dodd, former Rooster, former Dragon, Indigenous All-Star as well. Oh, lovely move. Jada Taylor support there. Will find Penitani, who will stroll over for another try for the Sharks. Beautiful attack.
Well, this left edge again. It looks like there's a try celebration. Are they surfing? Left edge again, singing really, really well for the Sharks. It's probably only
combination.
That's so
I like
good.
that one.
They're having fun doing them too. Having
They are.
all these smiles. Have you ever seen so many smiles in rugby league?
No, I love it. I love it.
What about that acceleration off the mark from Jada Taylor, who's already gone viral in the past, of course, with tries at origin level in the underage groups?
Yeah, she's a freak of nature. She did really well to straighten up then to commit that last defender and then throw a pass at pace, but that's too good, T.
A lovely cultural dance by the Sharks. I love it.
There's that 105-metre try in the under-19s game from Jada Taylor last year. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I'm sure most of you have. So 10-0, and Preston struck her last conversion beautifully. And this one squirms away off the upright. It remains 10-0.
Stay on side.
Tiana Penitani with try number 8 in her NRLW career. Game number 17 today. Sharks looking to make the most of the breeze being at their backs here. To look at our menu today on Nine's Wide Water Sports. Sunday footy started at Combank. Parramatta had the lead at half-time, then it was all the West Tigers. So impressive in that second half blitz. And later on, same venue here at PointsBet Stadium, the Sharks against Manly in the NRL men's. Tomagado steps into dummy half. The bench is being utilised here by the coaches, Tony Herman for the Sharks and Darren Borthwick for the visitors. Kick from Tonagato might just work out. It does, in fact. Great hands, Foliaki, who then didn't realise the tackle count has restarted. It still works out for Cronulla. What? Tonagato knocked it out of Temera's grasp.
How did they scam that, Rube?
I don't know.
Jasmine.
All I know is Jazzy Tupu was like, I'll just dive on it. I'll just dive on it.
Now, depth on the left-hand side. Oh, the hands, remarkable. And the touchy says the foot is
Play the
on
ball,
the
10
line
metres
from
out.
Anessa Biddle.
Where do you want it, Zahara?
Well, they ran themselves out then, the
Zahara, where do you want
Sharks.
to play the ball?
The halves combined,
Play the
which I
ball.
love to see, but Emma Tonagato, we'll get another look at it here. Maybe not. She was running that outline. So she was actually closing the gaps. The Sharks all sort of went with her, and they didn't really have enough room to go over. But again, that's great signs for the Sharks in terms of creating these opportunities. It really doesn't take much to square that up. They're playing footy in the right end.
What about when you've got the significant breeze at your back? What kind of lead do you want to build? Or are you okay to run into it second?
Oh, good contact here defensively, but you just want to have a couple of tries up your sleeve, and then you just can't rest on those laurels. You can't rest on just having a couple of tries ahead. You just need to continue to work really hard, ensure your basics are working right, and make sure your effort areas are on point.
Nice hands down that short side. Robbins ready, finds Bartlett again. Look at Anderson across in cover to slow things down and the lock forward for the Sharks. Quinlan to Temera, changing the angle. Holly May Dodd stopped on halfway and driven backwards again, so they lose some impetus at the back end of this set. The Raiders. Temera still has room though to advance and try the little chip kick option. Tried to tow it ahead, but Penitani snuffs that one out.
No, the Sharks, I don't think Tony Herman will be very happy with the kick pressure there. He'll want to make sure they know that Tomato is going to be the one that does the majority of the kicking for the Raiders. They need to get some inside pressure on her. However, that little chip kick has placed the Sharks in some pretty good attacking position, straight into transition.
Deft pass from Tonagato to Tale Holmes, the former Dragon. Won a Tarsha Gale Cup comp with the Sharks in 2018. That's the under-18s level. Tale Holmes, so no knows all about this part of the world. Tonegado wants it. Dodd used her as a decoy. Quincy Dodd running away from them. The number 9 will get there for a third try for the home team in this first half.
Oh, really good work through the middle there. Quincy Dodd, she's a player out of that 9 role where you just can't clock off when she jumps in there, because close to the line she's got that ability to really jump out and get low and score, but her legs
Great. I love that.
Tucked up on the couch, little WhatsApp chat. Should we make a mockery of that tomorrow?
How good. Caught me by surprise, that moment last night.
Yeah. Quincy Dodd, the try scorer, with the Lenarduzzi roll.
I tell you what, Millie Boyle didn't have the same smile on her face as Tiana does right there. She had a bit of a stink eye, as she should.
And Quincy Dodd's got a background as a half, doesn't she? But has made the number 9 role her own.
She has, and you know, the way she's been playing and what she brings to a team is the reason Kylie Hilda brought her in to the Sky Blues. It's Taylor Preston just pulls that one to the left.
That was so funny. That was when I was up there. Hold on a second. I was like, I know what this is. So good. 7:45 last night. Great, Karen. 10:70. Yeah. Go girls.
So the Sharks in a dominant position right now after the Quincy Dodd try, leading 14-0. Canberra just have to hang in there, an important phase here before half-time. Kickoff holding up in the breeze again, taken by Dodd. She's been asked to do that a couple of times. Rangi driven backwards. Fresh legs helping out defensively there. Grace Kemp, former ACT Brumby and Wallaroo, making her presence felt after coming off the bench. And there's Rhiannon Byers in the number 16 for the Sharks. Spent 3 years on the Rugby 7 circuit. And there's Naitoka Toka, another former Eel. 14 on her back. PG International. Tupo Witchman, Queensland under-19s rep.
The last tackle, you push the marker, don't move forward.
They're big on that.
There you are, time on. Last tackle. Yep.
I understand stopping it, but at the same time, if they reduce the defensive space.
Tried to take it and hit the ground running. RP Nichols, risky play, and gives Cronulla another opportunity here. Telstra has some of the best defence in the business, tackling millions of cyber threats every day. They get it to centre field through Naitoka Toka, who won the Harvey Norman Women's Premiership with Mounties this year. The 1-0 grand final scoreline. Now Byers. Quincy Dodd organising her attack from dummy half here, and they're set to go right. Oh, Dodd in search of a double. Wasn't really on. There's still plenty of tackles up their sleeve. Now they go right for Preston. Little right foot step, and has the arm free. Couldn't quite stretch out. Now the depth is there for Tonegado and Taylor. Oh, Jada Taylor swamped in the end. Great defensive scramble by the Raiders that time. On the last, the Sharks go to Naitoka Toka. Difficult bouncing ball. What a pickup that is. And Canberra hold on that time through Robbins Ready.
Well, that's great scramble defence by the Raiders, especially that right edge after fixing a couple of errors that saw some tries leaked down that way. That was a really good scramble on goal line and should give them some confidence.
We've seen Shaq Tungiai back in the NRLW. Started out with the Dragons, played for the Gillaroos, of course, a long time ago. And that's a handy penalty for the Raiders closing in on half-time. They elect to tap and go. Emma Barnes, welcome to the NRLW. She's rocked on that hitter, the 18-year-old. Recruited from Wynnum Manly. Relocating from Queensland to ACT for this campaign. And there's the presence of Grace Kemp. Stands out, doesn't she? Big size.
Well, there's discipline from the Sharks here, and look, not ripping back, getting onside. The Raiders are on the attack.
Saw Zara Canfield do that so effectively for the Titans yesterday with a crucial try, the tap and go. And now Nichols into dummy half, good awareness, helping out, and they're 5 metres out here in search of their first try in the NRLW. And no way through for Wiki.
Tiana, you never square and you get to the line.
3 consecutive penalties here.
Get a player in front.
Yeah, I touched on that bit of energy that the Raiders would have got out of that goal line defence, and you can see it on full display. Back-to-back-to-back penalties. Now in the red zone. We'll see what Tomato can scheme and put together for the visitors.
So Wiki will take the tap. Wearing the number 4 that her dad wore to win the grand final with the Raiders in 1994. Great chat with Ruben and Marley pre-game. Oh, throwing dummies, the debutante, and nearly opening things up, Emma Barnes. From dummy half, Temera trying to hit and spin, but the tackle stuck impressively from Taylor. There's space on that left-hand side. Overlap created here. They must score. Maddie Bartlett for the Raiders. Scores another NRLW try. She now has 12.
It took them a while to get out to that edge, the Raiders. They waited, but what it did do was it created a little bit more space out there for the timing of when they did choose to shift. So they did it pretty well in the end, and we'll see here on the Harvey Norman replay, a lovely pass from dummy half. And I think that's the key. Uppy Nichols takes the ball enough into the line to commit Andy Robinson, which left the space there to go over. Really nicely executed from Uppy Nichols. You watch it, footy in 2 hands, looks at Andy Robinson in the eyes to commit her, runs into her a couple of steps and then throws a lovely little pass.
And Maddie Bartlett finished it beautifully. The thing there, the Sharks, oh, is that the Viking clap? Yes! What a try celebration.
That's great.
I love it. But what just happened there for the Sharks defensively? They just miscounted their numbers. They only had 4 on that open side. When you play the ball in the middle there, you have to have 5. And you've got to check and release from the middle. And so unfortunately caught for numbers, but beautiful play by the Raiders.
It was lovely play, also perfect timing. They get to head into half-time now, the Raiders. First points on the board from them. And they'll take confidence out of that because it was built off where you spoke about before, the defensive resolve on their try line. They got 3 back-to-back penalties. They earned their territory, and then they had some great attack off the back of it. So they deserve that Viking clap, but heading into halftime with some confidence, they'll love that.
And Raiders fans, you can do it for real. Next week, they host the Roosters, GIO Stadium, the first home game for these Raiders. Zahara Temera, difficult conversion, and the breeze, of course, a factor. But they have some momentum to take into the second half when the breeze will be at their backs. At half-time in the Shire, it's the Sharks 14, the Raiders 4.
Ill-discipline from the Sharks and a great try from the Raiders. So I think great news for this second half of footy. They'll be coming out with confidence, but also the Sharks' route. I thought they played some really brilliant footy in that first half. We got to see a lot of their key players in a little bit of space. But they've just got to, same thing, they've got to fix up their discipline, but then also work into that territory because they're a danger when they're there.
Absolutely. Once they get into that good ball, they've got the ability to pull it off, but discipline defensively, and also I want to see them control the ruck a little bit more, because at the moment the Raiders are averaging over 45 metres per set of 6.
Away we go in the second half, and kick-off taken by Temera, sending Kemp back the other way. Look at that run, keeping the legs pumping. What an addition she is going to be to NRLW, the 22-year-old.
She's an incredible player. She's actually moved from rugby union. She was a Wallaroo. She's seen the light. Are we allowed to say that? No. Opportunity, but she's a brilliant footballer, both in rugby union and rugby league. Yeah. But that first run, what a charge.
There was a lot of rugby union maul about that run. Kept the legs driving.
Barnes has been eye-catching as well in that backup dummy half roll, and earns a penalty here late in the count.
And no, Toka was offside that whole set of 6 there, and Casey Badger was onto it. But just gifting the Raiders some really good field position here. Midfield tap. Let's see what they can pull off.
Give it to Taufa to set the tone. Now Quinlan. Back on the angle. Mona Lisa Soliola keeps her legs pumping and takes them into the red zone. Barnes had a second grab at that one. Might have got away with a little fumble as Kemp goes back on the angle.
We look here, just popped up on the screen, the red zone. Sharks have had 12 play the balls.
And Barnes from dummy half has scored the try. I think Canberra are celebrating back-to-back tries either side of half-time.
Well, I spoke about this right off the kickoff. The Raiders, their sets, they've been clocking over 45 metres per set. And I wanted to see the Sharks control that ruck speed a little bit more. The discipline really let them down. And then off the back of it on the Harvey Norman replay, Grace Kemp again with a really good setup run. And it was just the ability of Barnes to pop out. The defensive line for the Sharks wasn't set. They were on the back foot. Didn't get off the line with pace, and she took full advantage of it, Fergo.
She did. Great ruck recognition from Barnes, but Grace Kemp, what a player. What an impact she's already had in this second half. We saw from the kickoff that leg drive and power through contact, but then to be able to run that angle and get a nice quick play the ball. They're a dangerous side, the Raiders, and I think that was around a lot of the conversation ahead of this competition is how strong they're going to be as a club. Not too dissimilar from the men's Raiders. They'll continue to challenge sides, but I think that is their biggest strength. In the middle of the field, Rue, you've spoken about it a few times, but getting that momentum and controlling that ruck, they've done it brilliantly. I've said it before, Samaima Taufa leading the way for those women. We're just going to see more and more great players playing off the back of her.
It is game on in the Shire. Zahara Temera closing in on 100 points in the NRLW.
Sharkies 14, the Raiders 10.
Stay on.
24 player squads in the NRLW, and the 24th and final player signed by the Raiders was Emma Barnes after impressing in the national championships at underage level for the Queensland Rubies. And what a piece of recruitment that has proved to be already by their coach Darren Borthwick. Down to you, Marley.
Yes, Darren Borthwick would be very pleased with this opening for the Raiders. At halftime, he spoke to the girls about staying in the cycle, giving away no more penalties, and was really pleased with their attack, which they've come out firing with.
He's been around the game for a long time, part of the coaching staff at the Eels and the Roosters and the Warriors. Strength and conditioning background as well, and they look a really fit team for round one. Now the movement from side to side they go. Nichols chimes in, and Wiki running hard. Plays it on the last. Temera to put it as high as she can. And nice take taken, but the chase, a ripper. Quinlan.
That's a great chase by the Raiders, really playing off the front foot. Good little scoot here by Jada Taylor, though, but look at the defensive numbers for the Raiders. Lots of jerseys.
And Cronulla making multiple changes here, just 4 minutes into the second half as their starting front rowers return.
Well, they'll be looking to just sort of right the ship a little bit, make sure that that middle isn't as loose as it sort of got to the point of doing, and they're having to roll their sleeves up for some hard work because the Raiders are just playing with plenty of confidence.
So 10 changes available to coaches, Rue, and using players 4 minutes after half-time to refresh the front row. Would they be looking to play out the game now, the likes of Ellie Johnston?
I don't believe so, because I think that's only 4 interchanges that they've used so far, so they've still got plenty more up their sleeve. However, I think Tony Herman will be looking for a better finish than that. I mean, we saw in the previous game when the Eels ended their tackle on their own 40-metre line, then Tigers went through and scored right off the back of it. So a bit more attention to detail on those last set options.
I think the ownership needs to come on the two halves in that instance, Rue. They're at that 40-metre line. They really needed a fifth tackle option.
We've already seen one second half turnaround today. The West Tigers with a second half blitz against the Eels. Oh, Kemp thinking about what she was going to do before she'd gathered the footy, and that's a let-off for Cronulla.
That's a huge let-off. Unfortunate from Grace Kemp to let that one go. They had really good attacking shape in the lead up to that. Grace Kemp had Samaima Taufa right next to her, which, if you watch them closely, they quite often have that shape. Grace Kemp and Samaima Taufa are both attacking options with their half out back, and then the outside backs follow through. But yeah, that's a shame that they let that one slip.
Taylor off the scrum. Almost a hospital pass to Takarangi. Don't forget to be at Belmore Sports Ground on Sunday, July 30 for an epic NRLW doubleheader. The Knights take on the Cowboys, followed by the Tigers against the Sharks. Tickets start from $10 and kids get in free. Head to nrl.com/tickets now. Butler up over halfway. Another brilliant run from Harata Butler. And a really slow play the ball. But they're still rolling for Tale Holmes. And that's a flop, a blatant flop, and Wiki is punished for it. Holmes taps it and goes. And Wiki has to make that tackle. They're inside the 10 now, Cronulla. And to extend that lead, it's a slender one right now. Johnston off the long run. Canberra's defence under immense pressure here. Tale Holmes, the lead runner. Not sure it was designed for her. There was an overlap outside. Dodd from dummy half in search of number 2. Spins her way over and does have a double. She knows how to find that try line.
She sure does. She did nicely to turn around and spin there. But I think in the lead up, the thing that impressed me was the two front rowers, the interchange. We saw Ellie Johnston and Harata Butler come back on the field, and they straightened up the attack from the Sharks. They made sure that they were playing much more direct. Ellie Johnston there, you can see she's running, charging at the line. That sort of gave the opportunity to Quincy Dodd to go over. But it was the pack route that created these opportunities for me.
That was great angle there on the Harvey Norman replay. This one's going to look even better. You just see what happens there. That A marker squares up on Ellie Johnston because she's running in hard, and Tamara is left to try and make that tackle on her own. She almost got it. She rolled her over, but Quincy Dodd, like you said, she has that knack of just finding the try line when she's close to it. But that's a good hit back from the Sharks.
You would have thought they would have done their homework on Quincy Dodd. Do you think, Rue? Like that's a very big part of her game, particularly that close to the line.
It is, and also it's like Jessie Southwell. You know it's coming, but you still got to try and stop it.
Preston. Oh, that's a clever kick. That is classy. So Quincy Dodd with a double here today, making it 7 tries in her NRLW career. Scored 3 tries in 4 games as a Dragon back in 2020.
And I touched on it earlier in the call. She's such a talented young player and forced her way into the Sky Blues outfit.
Butler. It's Barnes out the
Hasn't she been good this afternoon?
How good.
Takarangi moving it on to Tonegado. Shake her way on the outside of Tangiai.
What about this? What a hit.
Johnston, her return coincided with that try not long after. Butler and Johnston both returned, and they went down the other end and scored, and now they get a fresh set once more. There's half a chance for an intercept there, but hasn't had the catching hands today, Dodd.
Well, that one was, yeah, she got herself in position, but unfortunately just came out a little bit hard, and as she tried to play at it, it went straight towards the ground. But this is a really smart play. Again, look at the shape the Sharks have out of here. Dodd at marker. Had herself in a really good position. But speaking of good positions, this one is fantastic for the Sharks. 3-3 split. Easy pace.
Just inside Canberra's half. Tonegado already scored from a centre field scrum in that first half. Plays it here inside the 40. The Holmes to go to work again. Tale. Dodd. Back to Johnston, scouting a little bit wider, and Ellie, and when she winds up, she takes some stopping inside the Westpac red zone. Preston for Tonegado, and over the top, clever from Taylor. Foliaki, support outside, she doesn't need them. Spins her way over and says, what have I found here? The try line, that is.
What a try from the Cronulla Sharks. And the lead-up run from Ellie Johnston, she did it perfectly. A nice, straight, hard run. But they did brilliantly here, the Cronulla Sharks. I think the key to this was Emma Tonegado coming around and almost playing that extra fullback role. You can see how she started behind the ruck. She's jumped in there, linked up with her fullback, Jada Taylor, who threw the dummy and then passed it on to her back rower, as we saw there on the Harvey Norman replay. Vanessa Foliaki gets the try, but that's some wonderful footy, isn't it, Roo?
Well, this is what I love about footy, is when you get the 7 and the 6 combining on a long shift like that, when you've got a player of Tonegado's calibre and speed, you can use that late swing and it helps create that extra number. But the way Jada Taylor then just held the ball up, dummied, drew in Madison Butler because she could see them shooting, didn't try and throw the pass, just drew them in, and then Foliaki got close to the line, but hang on a second.
Oh, no.
Put it down, didn't it?
Oh.
Took a little while, but
I'm
I
going
think
to
it's
keep an
okay.
eye on Casey Badger. No, Casey Badger standing behind the kick. That was a beautiful long shift from a very wide play there.
I think it shows the strength to the Sharks' attacking game as well, having Emma Tonegado and Jada Taylor.
Preston can't bend it back the other way.
To make the 10 successful, the score on the Sharks 24, the Raiders 10.
Just the roll. "14-point lead all of a sudden as the Sharks go back-to-back. And here's another look at this one. Foliaki rolls over and doesn't, or maybe she's grounded enough there, but then really tries to ground it the second time.
Play on, Speedy.
Dodd has been
Right off the
taking
chest.
all of those kickoffs.
Oh no, and Semaima Talfa is down here in play.
Takes a lot for Semaima Talfa to stay down.
Stay down, absolutely. There's genuine concern from both teams here. Oh, they've clashed knee. It looks like a cork.
Cork? Hopefully it's a cork.
I'm calling cork in the upper thigh,
How
please.
bad are corks?
Especially when it's cold. It's like 14 degrees down there.
Oh, they're the worst.
Only good when they're coming out of the ice bottle.
Oh, yeah, I'm with you there.
Bit of belly cut.
They're very frustrating because, gosh, they're painful.
Don't miss an epic first night of finals at the World Aquatic Championships in Fukuoka. Ariane Titmus against Katie Ledecky, the American, and also throw in the world record holder, Summer McIntosh. All coming up tonight in the 400 on 9 and 9 now, 9 p.m. Lock it in. They're still attending to Jemima Taufa right now. Foliaki did enough to ground it that first time around, or did she need to ground it again? Because she thought she needed to ground it again here.
It looked like when she rolled over the first time, it brushed the grass. I wouldn't say it was firm put down, but it brushed it on this one.
Nah, that's a try.
And then the second one was definitely down, but she was out by the second time.
Yeah,
so
maybe.
I think the first one she gets it down.
Try time. And also just getting another look at that. How good's Jada Taylor?
Oh, I know.
Another one who makes it slow down.
Yeah. This is a big opportunity here for the Raiders. They've been under the pump on their own line for a little while, and now they get a great opportunity.
Head him properly. Head him properly for us. Jada. Go. Beat it. Go. Time on it.
Yeah, have a look for Arpy to swing. There she goes.
Quinlan for Tamara, and they don't get it to the fullback in the end.
Tiana, go TJ, Pema.
Short side. Nichols still waits out there. And Wiki finished off strongly.
Ellie Johnston is out in the centre position there. She covered some ground well, but unfortunately a penalty's been given away. I think it was trying to rake it out in the ruck there.
One of those 50-50. Sometimes when the ball comes loose like that, it's just deemed to knock on, but this time benefit of the doubt went to the youngster, Mackenzie Wiki. He's got Dad Reuben watching here today. Lock there from Johnston. Given another warning on the run. Look at that pass from Tamara to Quinlan. Teammate had to get out of the way, otherwise she was copping a falcon there, Reinke. Now Reinke has it. Powerful player.
Both markers weren't square. You got to get back to your goal line.
I actually didn't even hear Casey Badger call them not square to start with, so some more real discipline from the Sharks here, just putting pressure on their own defensive line.
Money, girls, money!
Tapped it from just a couple of metres out, so not a whole lot of room for Taufa to work with. Barnes, oh, that's nice link-up play. And Casey Badger getting down low to see whether there was a grounding there for Kemp.
I tell you what, if anyone's going to be able to drive their way over for a try, it's Grace Kemp. Her leg drive is phenomenal, and such a big body. She's a beast. She is.
Great addition to NRLW.
Yeah, I think she complements Jemima Taufa's game really well too.
I agree.
No markers there. That looked a little strange. They were entitled to send a couple up there, the Sharks, but they were ready and waiting defensively for Holly May Dodd. Now Tamara. Quinlan had to be quick, under the pump defensively. Takai Rangi right in her face.
Well, it's a couple of times now that Kiana's shot up on that right edge, seeing the threat that Tamara is playing without the back there, and coming up with a really well-timed shot.
Yeah, we can see the Raiders' shape here. They've got a fair bit of depth, but that nice early read. I think there's opportunity on this left side for the Canberra Raiders. I think they're setting quite deep. They just need to change the pace in which they're playing, and also get maybe that first runner to dig into the line a little bit, but they're not far off making it work.
Yeah, and even if they can just break it down on the near post instead of that little bit wider, they might be able to come up with a mismatch or a misread in numbers by the Sharks.
20 minutes to go and the home team leads by 14. Well-earned rest for Quincy Dodd. The tries under her belt already. It's the versatility that Anderson offers with the 13 on her back. Helping out as a dummy half. Maitoka Toka can also play that role.
Speaking of leg drive, Harata Butler just puts her hand up from, oh, that's an error.
Not happy either.
No, but she knows that that's one part of the game that a middle forward has to be clean on. And it's the only blemish in her game this afternoon so far. She has been very, very strong for the home outfit.
She knows the assistant coach, Ruan Sims, just gave her the commentator's curse. Giving her a big rap there. And
we do a lot of work on play the balls.
Let's go, make sure we get our heads in. Come on, we're on the clock.
So you're not required on game day, Ruth. We can have you on game day?
You can have me on game day.
Beautiful. Good field position here for the Raiders, who need to be next to score. Quinlan stopped centre field at the expense of another penalty. They're trying to crack down on the treatment being dished out to the likes of Reinke here by the Sharks.
She said that was she indicated that was a crusher tackle. It did appear to be a little bit high to me, but maybe on replay we might be able to see.
Yeah, Brooke,
oh yeah, her head's caught.
Crusher.
Anything to worry about suspension-wise, or just a minor end of it? Alana, do you have a read on that one?
Put on the 10-metre line.
No, I don't think it was too bad, that one. But well done from Casey Badger to pick it up at the time. I think she'll be all right.
Soliola down towards that 10-metre line. Depth on that right-hand side here. They set it up through Taufa. Nichols and Wiki ready to go to work, right-hand side. They're flat on the left. Quinlan. Oh, nice move again by Robbins. Ready, able to catch and move in the one motion laterally. But the door closed. Quinlan putting her step on, and Toka stopped her in her tracks. Little clunky here so far from the Raiders on this set. Kemp with some go forward. And she'll play it here on the last. Temera waits right-hand side. Little kick in behind, well weighted, and the race is on. Who got there?
All right, coming into tackle 6. I have no try. Can we just confirm that Cronulla ground it first?
I think they did.
I tell you what, that was a beautifully weighted kick by Tamara, and the chase through as well was just phenomenal. Was it Wiki on that side? Chasing through. She's on side here. It's a fair
The right side
challenge.
kick chase of Canberra on side, playing on at this stage.
Then it became an old-fashioned beach sprint here, Alana.
Foot race. How good's a foot race? Emma Tonegato's on the back foot. She's been left behind. Yeah, that's grounded.
Tiana Penitani just got the hands there, it appears. Wiki did beautifully to put herself in a position. Let's just have a look. Yeah. That right hand of Wiki, though, was very, very close.
It was a nice little grabber from Zahara Temera, but they were a bit flat-footed.
Just looking to see who grounds the ball first.
It's both Penitani's hands, is it, or not?
Looks like it.
Geez, each angle gives you a different answer, doesn't it?
I think the other ankle's a bit better, isn't it?
Matty Noyen in the bunker.
He's got his works, earning his keep today.
Simultaneous grounding.
Cronulla ground the ball in the end goal.
There you go.
We have a decision.
Yeah, I think that's the right call. The Raiders had a full set. We'll get to see it pop up here, but the Raiders had a full set, but I just thought they were a little bit flat-footed. They've got quite good shape. Spoke about it a couple of sets ago. They just couldn't get to those opportunities.
Just
They
want to
need
see them react better.
React and just come onto the ball at a little bit of pace. Good shape. If you need to take another couple of steps, come onto the ball and challenge these first few defenders before you get to your edges.
What a sight that is. On Nine's Wide World of Sports. How good are the drone shots in world sport now?
How good's the Shire?
God's country.
You got 2 Shire girls sitting next to you, Speedy. We could talk about this all day.
You're flying your drones as well, to capture those kind of images?
Yeah, that's my personal drone.
Is Mackenzie staying on? She's staying on? Yes. You've got to make sure you get on side. Just wait.
Spectacular. What an afternoon.
Keep
This is
it coming.
winter. This is winter if you're watching somewhere else in the world. Tumbling line dropout. Given back to Kemp. Still time for Canberra. Taufa. Dally M medal winner 2017, Samaima Taufa.
Look, Anderson's slow in back play after that heavy contact.
Barnes driven into the deck by Foliaki. Trying to crash their way over. Surely there's a chance to shift it wide after 4 or 5 Sharks involved in that tackle. Barnes does go wide for Quinlan. Nichols, kick in behind, chase is on, bouncing ball. And off Robinson. Referee and Touchy talking it over.
I got a knock on from Canberra. Knock on from Canberra, we're going 20.
Knock on from Canberra. I actually thought it might have been a knock on by the Sharks first. Let's watch this on replay. I think it was Taylor Preston who does well to get on her bike, and Andy Robinson. Yeah, I think that's a Sharks knock on. Oh, they get away with one.
7 tackles set as well to boot in a bang-bang kind of play. Penitani. In the end, that move from Parramatta to Cronulla was given on compassionate grounds. Lives in the local area. Takes a lot longer to get to training as a Parramatta Eel than it does a Shark. And the game she's having, Penitani.
It was also her mum just got into the police force and was down in Goulburn, down there for 6 months, so she was looking after her younger brothers and sisters.
Great ambassador for the game, Tiana Penitani.
Great run again. Ellie Johnston.
Racking up the numbers today, Johnston. There's a fresh jumper out there, the number 19.
Chloe Saunders
On
field, another Rugby Sevens convert.
That's from Kempsey. Jada Taylor for Penitani. Spotted a hole, but it closed just in time from a Canberra perspective. Taylor at first receiver for Tonegado. They get back to centre field through Anderson. And there is the debutante again, Chloe Saunders. Played every sport you could imagine growing up. Preston's kick, what a pickup. Arpy Nichols, and back into the field of play. Didn't ground it in the end goal.
Mate, she didn't miss a beat, Arpy Nichols. She picked that up so cleanly. But it looks like the referee and the touch judge are just conferring on a point here. Is it Taylor Preston being checked out for a head injury? If we get to see that clip of Arpy Nichols pick that ball up on replay, that was so silky.
Well, she tried to do the Nathan Blacklock in the first half, didn't she? Tried to pick it up and whoosh past everyone, but couldn't quite pick it up that time, but she did on this occasion. A lot of warnings for her grip. Ellie Johnston from Casey Badger. Here's a look, Ruth.
Look at this. Just in this lower left part of your screen. Geez, she did well. And got herself back into the field of play too.
Also saw the contact that was a concern for Preston.
Yeah, it looks like
collision.
It was a head collision with Samaima Tofa. But a good defensive set from the Sharks. So pin the Raiders inside their own 40.
Temera's kick under pressure. Look at Taylor with the return. Still going, Jada Taylor.
It's one thing you can't afford to do, is it, Fergo? Present a broken line to Jada Taylor.
Yeah, she's so dangerous. She's quite low to the ground as well, but what a tough player. We saw her get absolutely pumped in that first half, and ever since, it's as if she doesn't even remember that happening. She's a great young footy player coming through. Awesome to see her play NRLW and step up. She doesn't look out of place at all, and it also means that we've seen that shift, Emma Tonegado into the number 6 jersey, who I think's been more than solid. It looks like it certainly isn't her first game there.
Tried to put her winger through, or rather Penitani through a gap there. Did Tonegado, puts the pass out in front of Anderson, runs onto it and goes deep inside the red zone. On the last, Tonegado wants it left, and they will go that way. Now the shift, back to Preston, right-hand side. Kick in behind, gets it back, not played at, so still alive here for the debutante Saunders, centimetres away.
Well, that was an interesting setup. They screaming for it on the left, and then it was a long shift back to the right, but the Raiders were up to it there. Almost caught out, but Chloe Saunders was tackled really close to the line there, and a couple of cramps creeping into the game. The game's been pretty free-flowing, Fergo, like not a huge amount of stoppages.
Yeah, it has. Plenty of footy being played. I tell you what we have seen a lot of grubber kicks on those fifth tackle options. Do you think it's a common theme in the women's game at the moment, Roo?
I think it's one that hasn't been utilised to its full effect probably until this year. I think we see a lot of kicks go up in the air and we look for that challenge, but personally I think that grubber kick is so solid close to the line, especially when you're looking for a repeat set. And you would know, being a half, that repeat set, that's gold to your team.
It is. The thing I love about the grubber kick is you can actually place it knowing exactly when it's going to pop up. So if you get the right ball drop, those players that have done it over and over and over again, they can get it to go just through that line of defence. If the fullback isn't there, they can get it to pop up in that sweet spot. And when it pulls off, I tell you what, it's pretty to watch.
Quinlan was just receiving treatment for Canberra, getting back into her position. Number 7. It's a strong run on play 4. Up the middle from who else but Jemima Taufa. Now they go to Nichols. And there's Quinlan trying to kick, but trapped beautifully by the Sharks.
Probably not the right time for a grubber, Roo.
No, not that one, not that one. But she was been so electric with her footwork, it surprised me that she would drop that one to the toe. They did have the Sharks a little bit rattled on the edge, but Vanessa Foliaki was able to just dive on the scraps there and clean it up. She's gifting the Sharks some good field position.
Don't forget, Chemist Warehouse Sunday footy continues after this. The Sharks against Manly in the men's NRL. Johnston again. Her numbers today outstanding, up over 130 metres after that run. Preston for Saunders. She's putting her hand up to feature on every set since coming on. And there's another grubber. Oh, Anderson, what a tackle.
That's it. That is the grubber kick.
One-on-one, if you don't mind, RP Nichols.
How good. What a great game she's played. She, defensively, playing that fullback role, she has not missed a beat.
We spoke about this earlier in the first half as well, just her defensive structure and spacing.
Last tackle handover, they're challenging a high tackle.
Ooh,
Captain's challenge.
Okay. I wonder who they're thinking it was on. Let's watch this replay.
No, it's Nichols. They were thinking the one-on-one front-on tackle drifted high on Anderson when she picked up the ball here.
Kick chase is all onside. Just looking to see if there's any high contact.
Looks like it slips up off the ball. Whether they deem it high contact or not, we'll soon find out.
There's whiplash effect, but that's as good a front-on tackle as you could wish to see defending your own try line.
Just looking at all angles.
Maybe they might be thinking the right shoulder. Watching it live, I thought it was just a really good, hard front-on ball and all tackle.
Try-saving tackle.
Appy Nichols leaves the ground and her right shoulder makes contact with the head of the Cronulla players. The challenge by Cronulla is successful.
Yeah, that was the only one I was concerned about because we couldn't really see the angle from the right side. So the left shoulder hit the ball and it was all clean, but the right shoulder...
What do you want to do?
Made contact.
Tiana?
Just the penalty?
You going to play?
Yeah, I think so.
There's your mark.
Yep, I think that's fair. There was no malice in it.
Well, they were
Bumped
willing to
off the
play
ball.
on. The referees, the officials were willing to play on.
Wait for the tap. Yep, let's go.
We'll see what the MRC comes up with after the game.
Johnston. Cut her performance with a try. Dodd. Lovely pass. Tale Holmes.
Come on. Coming to tackle 2.
Having a crack
no
this
try.
time.
Just confirm that Tale Holmes knocks on before she grounds the ball.
Yeah, that's a knock on. This is good tackle. Who was that on the outside? Is it Jemima? Of course. Of course it is.
It's a loose carry from the Cronulla player and she knocks on in the in-goal area. We have a decision.
She's everywhere this afternoon, Mima.
Yep.
She's always everywhere. She blows my mind every single time I watch her play footy. She's unbelievable.
I will be out to the 20.
Looked like Holmes was mounting the argument that Jemima had actually reefed that out, stripping it out and then...
However, if you're going for a try, you're allowed to do that.
Yeah, but if she strips it out, then it's not a knock-on by
No,
Holmes
true.
and she then thinks she's grounded it. One of those ones you can debate long into the night. Into the final 10 minutes we go. Sharks in control of this home game. First ever game in NRLW for both of these clubs. Matua, look at that footwork. Up over halfway she goes.
And she leaves all the Sharks on the ground. That's a great run by Matua.
Samai Mataufa at the moment, Roo. This will be absolutely no surprise to you. She leads the meters run and she leads the tackle count.
Yep, that's unsurprising.
Fumble from Kelly Symes.
She's only fresh back on the field too, Kelly Symes. But no, unsurprising that Mimes is leading all of those stats. She's just a workhorse.
Biddle coming into the middle. Cronulla's back five have done this a lot in the last 10 minutes, helping out the forwards. Taufa add another one to the tackle count.
More good contact.
In and under.
Shante Tamara built close to the ground.
Another lovely deft pass from Jada Taylor, but no way through for Takarangi. Dodd. There was an overlap being created left-hand side. If they could have made the ball sing there, they keep going that way for Preston. Again dropped on the boot in behind. Nichols gets there on the bounce once more.
She's so good. It was a lovely kick. Lovely kick by Tay, who swung around to the left because Emma Tonegado had to jump in at the 9. But that tag by Arpy Nichols, she has been phenomenal at the back for the Raiders.
She has. It was a good defensive set as a whole from the Raiders. Now they just need to try and get out of their own half.
It's the longest pre-season in NRLW history, Roo. You've been part of it, 7 weeks to get ready for this season, but nothing prepares you for round one, and we're seeing a lot of cramp.
Yeah, it is, because you step up intensity. You try and do that at training. You try and overspeed everything so that you've got that intensity come game day, but there is just no substitute for game fitness.
Sisters combine for Zahara Temera to get the kick away. Taylor hardly put a foot wrong today. Step back into a shoulder there.
Ash Quinlan loves a big shot, doesn't she?
Coming towards the end of round one, what have you made of it, quality-wise, and some of the highlights so far?
Yeah, I think it's been a great opener to the season. I think we've seen a couple of the new clubs perform really well. The Roosters are an absolute standout. They were unbelievable. Against the Broncos, who are another really strong club. A brave performance from them, but they're on a whole nother level, the Roosters, at the moment.
Very strong roster this year for the Roosters too. And just the way they're playing their footy, they look very composed, they look very controlled, but just really playing what pops up in front of them, which I love that style of footy.
And 2 of the newcomers are going to win, and the Cowboys were so close to stealing one on the Gold Coast too.
Yeah, I was really impressed by the Cowboys, actually. I thought the Titans, though, they showed their class. Avania Politi at fullback. What an absolute freak of nature. She's such a talented football player. She did really well, and the class probably outshone them in the end, but the Cowboys certainly hold their own for the most of the game. Great hands from Emma Tonegado.
Holmes straightens things up, has support. Tonegado looks for support. Johnston, cap her performance in style. The front rower on the outside. Take a bow, Ellie.
Stop it. Stop it. Emma Tonegado to Ellie Johnston. I never thought I would see the day. Roo, I'm going to let you take this one. That was something else.
That was fantastic, and she deserves it. It was a bit of a slow pass from that the right tram line, but this lovely little work, great deft hands. Tale Holmes on the Harvey Norman replay, showing her speed. She's been really strong for the Sharks too, but here gave it early to Ellie Johnston as well, so she still had plenty of work to do because Maddie Bartlett was coming across to try and shut it down. But how good is it to see a big front rower like that backing up?
It's too good. We got to see a lot of positives out of that for the Sharks. The identification that the centre had come up out of the line and backing themselves. I thought Emma Tonegado did a really good job. She's taking the line on at pace. The support play, as you mentioned, Roo, is the reason they got that try. Look at her, she's buggered. She's had a big game.
Give the big girl a break.
She has had an enormous game. And she already would have been one of the standouts in today's performance without that try. But Tale Holmes in the lead-up, what a great run back to Emma Tonegado. What about that? The short side. A front rower popping up on the short side. She did it too in defence, defending her line.
She did.
Earlier on in the game, but that's something special.
And she's very mobile too. She moves real and gets a very well-deserved rest, and the home crowd cheering
Get that
her on
liquid
there.
into your sister.
Yeah, give me the Gatorade.
And Sharks fans, you can be part of this live as Preston misses the conversion to support this team as they look to make an impact in their first NRLW season. In round 3, they return to this stadium, PointsBet Stadium, to face the Titans. Saturday, August 5, that is. Secure your seats at nrl.com/tickets today. NRL Women's Telstra Premiership, real power, unreal passion. And haven't we seen that today, Marley?
I just call out to them.
Have an even better in the last 20 minutes or so. The Sharks fans have really piled in, and Ellie Johnston there as she came off got a massive cheer from the crowd behind her. These Sharkies fans are here for this moment in history and ready to support these girls who've started their season so well.
Don't forget Chemist Warehouse Sunday footy coming right up after this, the Battle of the Beaches. Sharks against the Sea Eagles, already squared off once this season. Cronulla, big winners at Brookie. And they back it up on their home deck. And this will get the crowd in the right mood, seeing the Sharks win their maiden NRLW contest. Sparked by Quincy Dodd with that double. And Tonegado has been fabulous in that 5/8 role, keeping her feet for a while there, but accepting the tackle in the end.
Really playing to her strengths too. Obviously her passing game is fantastic and her leg speed is phenomenal. So not changing too much about how she plays, but just tailoring that to a 5/8 position.
That's the beauty of having Preston on the other side with her kicking game. Anderson took responsibility this time with the boot. And gained about 5. There's a look inside the Sharks dressing room. Craig Fitzgibbon has made some big calls this week. Nico Hines will be partnered by Trindle in the halves, Alana.
Yeah, I like it. Sharkies fan. Looking forward to seeing the response from the Cronulla men. But I tell you what, I hope this moment in history isn't lost on these players. We've seen it right throughout the season, throughout this weekend and round 1 of NRLW, but they're creating dreams. We saw the young girls before the game from De La Salle and from Kernel Stingrays. They're sitting back watching these women play rugby league like many other people in the crowd, knowing that one day too they can be in those jerseys. This is massive. The crowd is packed. I'm sure Marley's having too much fun on the sideline, but this is just brilliant for the next generation coming through.
Nice work, Robinson jamming in off the wing. Left Bartlett unmarked to deal with Robbins ready. Short side for Nichols. Left foot kick, if you don't mind. On the run. Almost tidied up by Quinlan.
Play the ball, Canberra.
Canberra get it back.
Good little short side raid to finish it off, and they get the result out of it too. So the Raiders will get a full set of 6, opting for a midfield play the ball here.
Not deep, Marcus.
Another opportunity to clock up some more points, the Raiders.
Looking for a consolation try here in the last 90 seconds. Hollyman back for her second stint. Taufa waits in front of the uprights, used as the decoy. Temera for Quinlan. Bartlett on the outside here to become the record try scorer in NRLW history. She does have number 13.
Great ball movement from the Canberra Raiders. That last pass from Madison Bartlett was a bullet, and it had to be. And I think that's a part of their game that they've struggled in when they've had territory throughout this game, is actually getting it to those opportunities quick enough. But Ash Quinlan straight to Madison Bartlett. What she did was she accelerated into Kiana Takarangi, as we saw there on the Harvey Norman replay. And then just a beautiful, crisp pass straight out in front, easily collected to go over and score. They needed that try, Roo.
They did, and I think it was a really good identification by the Raiders to recognise while the Sharks have been doing that rush defence throughout the whole game, at that time they were passive and they were backtracking on their own line, and they just took advantage of that with the leg speed, pushed forward, and obviously that last pass was an absolute ripper.
Start of the weekend, Tamika Upton was the record try scorer in the NRLW. She got joined by Tegan Berry, who scored a double. They were on 12. Bartlett was one behind heading in today. She has a double. She's outright leader on 13. All in round one. Look at the bend on this, the judgment, but across the face from Temera in the end, inside the final minute of the opening round of NRLW. Hope you've enjoyed it all on Nine's Wide World of Sports. 3 games yesterday, a double header today, and then Chemist Warehouse Sunday footy coming up next. The Sharks against Manly from this same venue. More spectacular shots coming your way as the crowd builds here. Witnessing history in this competition right now.
It's a beautiful afternoon for footy. The field has been in the majority of sunshine for the whole of the women's game, and obviously that shadow will creep across along a little bit more as the day progresses, but it's going to get a little bit colder, isn't it, Fergo? That's the one thing that down here.
Sure is, it always gets cold here. But Roo, assistant coach of the Cronulla Sharks, what have you made of their first game of the season?
I think they've been really good with ball in hand. We've seen some different try scoring options out of them. I think discipline wise is something that needs to be tidied up, and just making sure that defensively we're staying in our structures and staying strong on those effort areas. But on the whole, Tony Herman will be very, very happy with this. The Raiders have shown plenty of fight today. Plenty of fight.
One final play here. Do they go through the hands as the siren sounds? Nichols elects to kick again. For space, finds grass. Here comes Taylor. And Jada says, let's celebrate victory. And a little bit of history here in the Shire. The Cronulla Sharks win their first game in the NRLW. Too good for the Raiders. 28 points to 14.